doing man
I'm like,
stuff
hey,
now.
you want me to change your batteries out? Got you. Fuel tank? Doesn't matter. I can't get enough of this guy. He's my favorite. Check out his channel, DIY Semi. He's one of my favorites.
Yes.
But, I got to give it up. I got to give some props to you this week because you were more productive this week than I have ever seen you be productive. And we're going to break it down.
Let's break it down.
We're breaking it down on why and how you were more productive. And I can't get enough of this. And for those of you who are watching, if you don't get a chance, I have this list, right? I make this list. We're truckers, we don't get family time. Well,
that's fair. So Tire
Killer. That's a valid point. I don't know what is going on, brother. Where are you at? Where's Tire Killer at, man?
Friday.
We don't get family time. I know. Shit.
That's why I respect you guys, man. You guys are always on the road.
They are always on the road. Drivers are incredible.
Yeah.
They really are. They have a mindset of just a friggin' just.
You gotta be strong.
You gotta go.
You're either alone in your cab all day,
Yeah.
all night, like places you haven't been. Like, can't imagine.
I'd be curious how many people actually. How many of you work alone? Even if you're a dispatcher, you're a broker, carrier, whatever you are, how many of you work alone? That's such an interesting perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You and I are blessed. We work and with the programmers, we work in this crazy office with other startups. This is a very entertaining office. So we're around people.
Right.
That makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've worked, from home by myself, like many freight brokers do. And and I get it. It's tough.
No, it's really
drive myself insane.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Oh yeah,
it's really tough. Today we're talking about time management and talking about time hacks, and we're going to get into some things. And I'm the list guy. I don't know about you guys, but I actually have.
It's a new adventure for sure.
I make a list. Every week, right? And sometimes I actually go do something. No shit. I go do something, I'll put it on my list just to cross it off, even if it wasn't on my list, right? So I want to break down your week as the most productive week I've actually seen. But I want to talk about how and why it's important to prioritize, to build your list, to pre-plan, to make time for what counts, right? A lot of people, and this is kind of interesting, is, my wife and I bet we date more than most couples do. Okay. We go out on intentional dates more than most people do. And the reason why is that we make time for it. Right. Even if it's inconvenient, even if it's an hour, we get the opportunity to make some time. Right. However, we were very intentional with, okay, I got to pre-plan a babysitter. I got to pre-plan where we're going. Right. I've got, hey, we don't have any kid things this night, but we've done dates on Tuesday nights. Right. And so I think what's interesting and what I'm hoping for that we get for you guys is you get at least one or two things today where you're going, God, I got to start doing that. Mm-hmm. Right. Obviously, there's technology that'll allow you and help you with pre-planning your week and doing things like that. But I really think it's important that we break down what happened in your week and why it was so productive.
Yeah. One thing you said too is that you get opportunities, right? Some people think of it as, I have to do this. I think if you think about it as an opportunity, it hits different. Let's see what I said.
I need a list to keep track of all my lists.
I've been known to make a list of things I've already done.
I got to tell you, I had this would have been about 6 months ago. This was right before the first of the year, so almost 8 months now. Yeah. Is I made a list of everything I wanted to make an anti-list. I wanted to make a list of everything that I do during the week that I need to habitually change. And I'll give you some examples. I habitually am addicted to this. So I'll find myself in the middle of a cold call, in the middle of a call, and I'm scrolling on my phone. What in the world is going on, right? How many of you scroll on your phone just even while you're on the phone talking to somebody? My mind works like a drunk baby. It's not good. It's not good, right? Yeah. So your week, and let's talk about your week real quick, because I think this is interesting. And this is somewhere where people get stuck a little bit, okay? Today, it's Friday, and Monday, I recommend every single person takes time to pre-plan their week. And either you do it on a Friday or you do it on Monday, but you write down everything that's important. And a class I took, and this was probably one of the more interesting classes I took when I was younger, it's called the Eisenhower block. If you haven't heard about this, look it up. It's really interesting. And you write this square on your piece of paper, right? And the top right block is important and urgent. Okay. The top left block is just important but not as urgent, right? The bottom part is delegating, which some of us don't have an opportunity to delegate, right? I get the opportunity to work with you, and you help me with things, which is tremendous. And then the right side is personal. And I think what's really important here is when you start to write out your week, it's not all about just what you have to do here. You have to somehow integrate your personal life into your list. Mm-hmm. So if you look at my list, if you look at a lot of people's lists, look at this. I have personal right up here, right? I have these things with e-carrier check that I either go over with you or that I make. But what happened on Monday is Nate walked up to the whiteboard and he wrote down all of his priorities. And they were all, in some manner or another, urgent and important, right? You had to get them all done by today, which you did. You killed it this week, right? But here's something that was interesting about your list versus interesting about my list, okay? And this is where, you and I talk a lot about mental health. We talk a lot about, how do you keep up with your things, right? Self-confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself, right? So if you look at your list, everything that was on that list you could control. If you look at my list, there were multiple items on there that I needed other people's help in order to be able to complete them. And I'm still not done with this list. However, I go home and go, shit, I didn't get all this shit done.
Right.
Yeah. Right? Notes, yeah. So, the self-confidence, keeping promises to yourself. So when you're making your list, right, you got to write out all the stuff that you need, right? But we got to start to go, okay, what can I control? What's important? And then we need to prioritize it, right? So on that list, what I thought was probably the most interesting thing is that you wrote in there, your priorities. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to do them in this order, and that's what you did, right? So when you're making your list, you've got to understand, A, who's in control of the list, but B, guess what? Hey, how do I either A, delegate this, or who do I have to get involved in order to get through my list?
Right.
And so that allows you to start being more focused, right?
And there's something to be said about just writing them down. I mean, yeah, we all have a calendar, right? Sometimes your calendar doesn't really match up to what's going on.
Right.
We got to answer phone calls. We got to hop on a training or a demo. What's up, Dan? What's up, brother?
What's going on? Dan, my brother, what is going on? I can't get enough of this guy. If you guys haven't checked him out, I honestly think this cat has the best, one of the greatest friggin' sales trainings in, I don't know if the universe is fine. I don't know.
And he talks about things that people are experiencing today. Like it's stuff that people are going through that could definitely boost your company or some confidence. You got to watch his content. It's good. Out for 2 weeks, home Friday nights, Saturday get anything done.
Leave Sunday morning for another 2 weeks. Eesh.
Yeah.
Tire Killer, we gotta get you out of the truck. What happened to the power washing deal?
Yeah, hopefully that's still an idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Get some weekend work, man. Get some weekend work.
Chief Raylor say? I keep it one subject notebook, my passion sheet, just to write down thoughts and people to call. Yeah, that's huge too. Write down your thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah. I don't know how many of you actually have been in a situation where it's 2 a.m, you get up to go to the bathroom and the dog friggin' works.
This thing does not shut up.
And you didn't do something on your list, or you thought of something that should have been on your list. Guess what? Your mind's spinning. You're done. Might as well just get up.
Yeah, but back to what I was saying about, there's something about writing it down and letting other people see your goals for the week.
Yes.
It held me more accountable. We talk. We have meetings every week, right? And you ask what's on my plate, and I tell you. I don't really write it down anywhere.
Right.
So I think that was a way for me to keep myself accountable and understand, okay, everyone sees what I got to do. I got to make sure I get this done for my team and myself.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I took it, and I think that held me more accountable. So that's probably why you thought it was more productive this weekend. I think that's something we should do going forward.
Yeah, I agree.
enjoyed it.
It was amazing.
We made some
You were a
stuff.
machine. You were just, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I got to give it up, man. It was incredible. I was so jacked. Here's something that, and Dan Deegan, jump in here if you're still on. A lot of people that watch our show, are always trying to grow their business. They're always trying to prospect. They're doing those things. And I'm a big believer in kind of this micro burst activity where, and you and I had a couple of these meetings where we needed to get one specific task done.
Right.
We came in here, for 25 minutes and we had it all done. We hyper focused on one thing and we were all done.
Right.
And I think this is something that in prospecting, I think should be done constantly. Go in for 25 minutes, knock it out, go back and do what you're doing. Yeah. The drivers are driving, right? Or they're pre-tripping, right? And the mentality you have for pre-tripping should kind of be the same thing as cheap freight hauler. He has that mentality. I got to do a pre-trip, right? Well, in my mind, it's like, hey, I need to friggin' make those calls right now. Mm-hmm. I just got done driving. Don't kick back. Take 20 minutes to make some of those calls.
Right.
You know what I mean? Be intentional. Keep scraping up that mountain.
Right.
So what's Dan say? Dan, all the time, or think of a great idea you want to implement. Audio notes are fantastic. Then into descriptive, the text, and then Notino to add to automation. Exactly. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, I remember being a broker and I would spend, do you get those days where you're like, son of a bitch, I've been busy all day, but I didn't get anything done. Welcome to brokering. You're bidding on freight. You're trying to find trucks, right? And somehow or another, you got to manage on growing your business. Mm-hmm. It's the same way with driving. Right. I
like this too as well. Yes, have your top 1 to 3 objective per call. It keeps you so focused on what you need to achieve.
I love that. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Notion.
Right? Notion. I was wondering, I'm like, what's Notino? You're going to have to tell me what that is.
I can tell if Jared is confused. I
was like, what? I missed that on a couple calls this week.
Yeah, I love this. Keep those objectives in mind. We're on a sales call. It's easy to kind of like lose track of what the goal was. During that call.
Absolutely.
No, I get it.
Absolutely. So yesterday, Nate and I were cold calling brokers, and I'd like to talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Which was very entertaining.
Explain why we called them?
For the most part, actually, it was we were trying to educate ourselves on, things that may catch their attention or things that they're dealing with. We were really just trying to educate ourselves, and so we were just calling them. We're starting this email campaign to grow our business, to build what we do, right? So we can stay and help and do what we do. And so we wanted to call and have a chat. And I got to give it up. Jerome Jones, what's up, brother? Best zero inspection carrier on the block. I love this guy. But I got to give it up. We called 10 brokers. One hung up on us. 3 of them said they didn't have enough time. Mm-hmm. One was just brutal. Like he actually lied about how old their company was, and I was like, well, no, we can see it. It's on the FMCSA. And the next one though was truly my favorite. Out of the 10 calls, we got one guy
real nice
that was phenomenal. Talk about that call.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Our goal, right, was not to sell something. It was to get a feel for what they're going through or how business is going. But this guy opened up about, himself, his life. We never met the guy. Opened himself up about his brokerage, what he's doing outside of brokering, what he's using to prospect and how he prospects. And where he's at in this company. He was super open about what he was doing. Now was in this industry. I can't remember how many years he's been driving. Right. But he has experience. Yeah. He has relationships. But it was really interesting to see where he was at in his new journey.
Yeah. Well, obviously he didn't like Dobermans. Remember that dog that was barking in the background? I don't know.
You're talking about dogs, which I love.
Yeah. So we're talking Doberman. But his everyone that did give us a little bit of time, right? Mm-hmm. They all said the same thing. I'm busy. I've got too much going on. Call me later. Right. And some of that could have been objections, Dan Deegan style, right?
Yeah.
Some of it could have just been they legitimately were busy. You know what I mean? Like that guy even kind of opened up that he opened up differently than he closed,
Right.
right? He opened up going, oh, I'm busy. I'm good. I'm good. And by the end of it, he was like, I'd love to grow more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was interesting once we finally built some trust or established some kind of connection where he could take the gloves off and actually just be a human.
Right.
It makes a difference.
Boy, it took some time to kind of get that one guy to open up. Boy, but no one wants to be sold to. So I think once he understood that, hey, we're not here to sell you anything. We want to know about you.
Yeah.
How things are going. Obviously, we know you're busy, but like, what do you want more of?
Yeah.
What are you struggling with now? And I think at the end of the day, like you mentioned, people just want more freedom.
Yeah.
We need more automated tasks or maybe more technology to help you have that freedom and also grow your company.
Yeah.
But we all want more freedom in some way.
Absolutely. Even Tire Killer is on here. He talks about how do I get out of the truck, or I'm always in the truck 2 weeks on, a weekend off and 2 weeks off. And if he's not driving, he's not making any money. He's not supporting his family. How does he make a goal to find something he's passionate about to get out of the truck? Well, he needs to start to write it out. I really think that it's so important that you write down your thoughts more than ever in today's very clouded, very noisy world.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. If you were Tire Killer in his shoes, I guess, where would you start? He's 2 weeks on the road. Is there a way for maybe some tips for him to maybe be home maybe once a week or 2 times a week? And, I don't know. I can't remember exactly where he's at or where it's in his area, but that also does help, right?
Right.
If you're in an area like us, like good luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're probably never going to be home.
Yeah.
But
yeah. There's nothing here. Well, there's beans and there's
beans.
Sugar.
I love beans.
Yeah. There's beans and sugar. There's always something, right? Personal freedom is a big goal. Petition.
It is. Yeah.
Just throw a party when Jerome gets his first successful inspection.
Yes, we will definitely have a party.
We should go live. We're just straight up at the truck stop. You can't hear us talking. It's just freaking diesel and doing what we do.
Right.
That would be awesome.
I don't. Can you live stream an inspection? I think he should call in.
I do think he should live stream it. What's he looking to transition into? That's an interesting question. He's talked a lot about, Dan, starting up his own business, like something to keep him home. He's talked about brokering in the past, but I think he may be, potentially fearful of the sales aspect of it. I think personally.
Maybe.
But
that shit's hard.
Man, I tell you what, he has so much knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if he could just find a way to, I also think he may get bored if he sits at home all day. So there's got to be something more here that he can find. He's talking about, doing some
pressure washing,
pressure washing, stuff like that. So, but I think it's really important that you take the time to write out your goals, write out your tasks, write out those things.
Some ideas too.
Yeah.
Right.
And just write down your thoughts. Eventually you'll get to where you need to go.
And this is what I love about our community and how we're close. We can bounce ideas off each other. Sometimes you just need to talk to someone and the ideas start coming, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So,
absolutely. I look on some shifts dancing at the Jiggle Hut to help out the truck. I'll be honest with you. I would go. I'm going.
Just get your ones out.
He calls it the Jiggle Hut. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. DIY, you obviously are pulled in a lot of directions. You're dispatching trucks. Sometimes you're in a truck. Sometimes you're selling. I would love to hear from you if you can somehow or another. Throw it in some of the text. What are you doing to help stay focused on task for a week, for a day, for an hour? I don't really care. We do a lot of time blocking where you're always checking my calendar. Oh, I got to do this and this. And I really try to stick to my calendar. Every now and then I get kind of caught up in something, but for the most part, I got to go do this and do this. Right. We have shortened our meetings up to shorter meetings, which I think has allowed us to be more concentrated in a shorter period of time. And so I do recommend that, right? Why do an hour when you can do it in 15 to 20? Maybe it takes you 30, but for the most part, if you come in and focus on one task, boy, you get it done.
And it doesn't always have to be like prospecting shippers. You're a big fan of calling carriers in those areas.
Yeah.
You're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Like we did yesterday with the brokers. So there's ways to switch it up.
Yeah.
You just got to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think the heaviest thing is I don't have my phone with me, but that's the heaviest thing to pick up and start dialing.
Yeah.
I get it. It's anxiety.
Anxiety.
Broker
Anxiety is
man.
real.
It is real.
Absolutely, it's real. I even judge shippers sometimes, which is kind of terrible. You're on their website, you're like, oh, they have their own trucks, I'm not calling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm like, I should have just been curious.
Right.
You know what I mean? The old Ted Lasso, stay curious, don't be judgmental, right? So some days I don't know how I keep it together, but somehow I do. I've just learned I have to keep going.
Yeah.
There it is right there. Quitting is not an option. If I fail, it won't be for the lack of trying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. You do just have to keep going. Trust me, I pay a dear price for it. Trust me, I've been severely burned out. Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Severely burned out is so.
Mm-hmm.
This industry is severely burned out.
Oh God, yeah.
And with the double brokering thing and all those aspects,
Right.
Dan Deegan bringing the house, I get 1 to 2 big things I wanted to learn to help me move the needle each week. These are big projects that I can break down into small tasks. And every Sunday, I reverse engineer how I can achieve it by the end of the week, then take action on the tasks. I love that. See, and he's talking about doing it on Sunday, and then he's breaking it down by task.
Right.
I'm telling you, that is it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about your goals, get them into tasks, time block, and just keep grinding like DIY is talking about that.
Yeah.
Tire Killer, I feel that.
Yeah.
It's out there. And you guys got to make sure you're talking to somebody and doing what you need to do in order to kind of keep treating that or filling that cup. You got to find something that fills your cup. Because thank God my family's around. You know what I mean? The family fills my cup. Yeah. You fill my cup. I enjoy being around you.
With coffee.
Well, no, I get that. But you do. I enjoy being around you. You're inspirational. You have a lot going on. I love that. So
interesting life I have, huh?
I love that. So, as far as time hacking stuff, that's what I got, Nate. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at. I hope that we helped get people to start writing down their thoughts, prioritizing it, thinking about those big blocks and going, what's urgent and important? What's not urgent? What can I do personally this week? Because I think it's important that you make sure that you have that personal aspect on your sheet.
Yeah. And I think, my advice, and I'm going to take my own advice, of course, I'll never give it out, but amazing discussion. Hey, we'll talk next week. I'll get scheduled with you after here. I'll get on your calendar. But my advice would be don't push it. Quit pushing things back. I understand sometimes you have to, but don't push it back because you're tired or you don't want to.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah.
I know we're all human and it happens, but just get it done and do with pride.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a book out there called Eat the Frog.
Yeah.
And a big fan of this book. I've listened to it I don't know how many different times. But anytime you can take off the hardest thing off your list, the rest of the week is downhill. You know what I mean? So hammer out the hard stuff and just kind of keep going. Dan Deegan, thanks for being on today, brother.
DIY Semi, go check those both of them out. Great content, great channel.
Yeah.
Putting out free content out there too. Like there's nothing better than just great free content to help you grow as an individual or a professional. So
somehow or another, it's important to educate yourself and take the time to. A couple weeks ago I did that AI training. Yeah. I really loved it. That was an hour out of my week that I was like, I got other stuff to do. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad I took the time to do it. So Eat the Frog. I misread that. I ate the dog. Sure do misread.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, he always brings the house.
What is in your coffee this morning?
What is it? Yeah. Is it Friday? You just little nip.
I love it, man. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Have a good weekend.